What's up, all you motorcycle enthusiasts, and welcome to the V-Twin Life here on YouTube. We talk motorcycles powered by those V-Twins, what fuels our passion, why we enjoy it so much. V-Twin Life is brought to you by these two great companies, Crash Inc. Clothing and Wild Ass Seats. Hey, you want to add some comfort to your ass when you're out riding, whether you're a 400-mile guy, or maybe a guy that's pushing 1,000 plus, or female rider for that matter? Hey, check out wild-ass.com and add some comfort to your ass. Can't forget Crash Inc. Clothing, that Northwest brand out of the Pacific Northwest. Hey, these guys got a lot of great stuff, from t-shirts to hats, raincoats, you name it. Hey, they can get you covered. Check out crashinclothing.com. Now, let's dive into another milepost of the V-Twin Life. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Sunday here on the V-Twin Life. Kicking it tonight with my brother from another mother, Michael, known as Two Wheels to Survive, who's been crushing some miles and just been laying down a lot, riding everywhere he can, whenever he can. So what's going on there, buddy?
Not much, man. How you been?
Oh, not liking the weather, but, you know, other than that, ready for spring.
Yeah, it's definitely not ideal riding season right now, at least out here in the Northwest.
Yeah, or even ready for some 50-degree weather, something, but instead of these upper 30s, low 40s.
Yeah.
Morning, Robin, over on the other side of the world.
Why can't I see the side chat?
Yeah, you gotta look. So,
there it is.
And thanks everybody tuning in. We got Bry the Biker, HDAV Traveler. We got Robin the Lady Biker, Iowa Hog, Springer Mike, Wrench Bender Nick, Ray's Mobile Life. Yeah, everybody's tuning in, man. Thank you guys all for, coming in and
Robin,
joining the side chat and watching everything.
What is it, like 3 a.m. by you, Robin?
I think it's 6.
She's having morning coffee while we're back here enjoying adult beverages.
Yes. So how's your year been going there? I know you've got a lot of stuff. You kind of decided to take charge and put your name in some books kind of midway through the year and lit a fire under your ass and took off going for it.
Yeah, man. 2022 has been a good year for me. Not just riding, but in general. It's been a pretty good year. We got about 3 weeks left. So, okay, Robin said it's 9 a.m. down here. So.
Okay, there we go. Hey, it's never too early for a mimosa or something,
Right? There you go. That's what bloodies are for. So you drink at breakfast and not look like an alcoholic. But no, man, it's been good. Kid graduated high school back in June, turned 18 a week later. So that was a good start to the summer. I was a few rides into my season by then, but hung out with you, did Monsters Over Mountains, which was a badass weekend of good riding. Had some good stuff happen at work, so can't complain there. But I think the big thing that anybody who follows along, and I know it's part of what we came to talk about, was I set out with a goal of doing 22 iron butts, ride 1K in a day, saddle sore, however you want to frame 1,000 miles in 24 hours. I set out with a goal of doing 22 of them in 2022. It was a good campaign. It still is a good campaign. It's not quite over yet. We aren't quite there. We got about 2 weeks left. Hopefully Mother Nature gives us a window so we can get these last couple in. But yeah, got 20 of them under our belt officially. So
even that, that's a damn good year. I mean, you think of that. You're way above what an average person rides.
So even if I don't get the window, like if Mother Nature decides that I'm done for the season, like 20 is nothing to sneeze at. I don't feel bad about it at all.
Absolutely.
Obviously, the Mission 22 and that whole thing, that 22 number is pretty significant to me. That's why I'm saying we're not done yet. We're definitely watching. Work's even been cool about it. They know what I'm doing, why I'm out there chasing it. And if I get a window in the middle of the week, they're even cool with me taking off on short notice to go chase these last couple here in the last couple of weeks if we can get it in. So,
well, I think it's awesome what you do. I mean, just 22 of them, 2022, and also your drive for Mission 22. I mean, it's something that hits home to you, and it's near and dear to your heart. And I think it's really awesome what, all the stuff that you do for Mission 22 is something, that you stand behind and, has a meaning for you as, you're one of our national heroes. I mean, you're, one of our American veterans, and I thank you for your service. And I know I've said that, we've been good friends, and I've
for
always let you know
now.
about that. But, I think it's what you're doing for the cause when it's something that's near and dear that you personally relate to is, I tip my hat to you. I think it's awesome, Mike.
I appreciate it, man. I get a little blunt sometimes when people talk about it, and the like it's cool supporting Mission 22 and everything, and sometimes I'm a little rough around the edges about it, and I'm like, I'm just sick. It's personal. I'm sick of going to funerals, you know.
No, I get it, man.
I've unfortunately been to as many memorials here in the States for brothers that have lost the war at home as many as I did for the guys in the Middle East. So Springer Mike, man, appreciate the support for the 22 a day. That's awesome. It's definitely a personal thing. Why I do it, my riding has been, like we've talked about, man, my riding's been a big piece of my therapy and helping me transition back here to the States. Being out in nature, being out on the road, has all done wonders for me. So the riding was a natural fit. And then along the way, getting to have conversations with people about what I'm doing, why I'm out there. So it's all kind of a natural fit, which makes chasing 22,000 miles in, 22 days when you break it down.
Yeah.
It sounds weird, but it makes it easy. I got a little sticker. I took it off the gas tank when the weather got bad, but I used to have it right underneath the ignition there on the bike. It says "Embrace the Suck." I have it on my mirror in my bathroom too. I see it every morning when I get up and get ready for the day, and it says "Embrace the Suck," because that's what you got to do. Sometimes you got to embrace the suck to get to where the good stuff is. So for all the miles of crummy weather and ice, chance of ice and getting rained on in epic proportions at one point this year, questioning why I'm out there. Veterans Day, the one I did on Veterans Day was a great example of having to embrace the suck. Riding conditions were not ideal. It was when I got down to the gorge. I forget what that is on the Oregon side where 97 hits, but stopped for gas there on my way through, and it was 29 degrees at noon. So, hey, Cal Fireman, it's my honor. I absolutely love serving. I love being in uniform. Honestly, I'd still be doing it. The universe had other plans for me, apparently. The Army decided I was done playing before I was done. So had to find other ways to keep serving and keep taking care of my brothers just like they take care of me. So definitely my pleasure. Is one of the highlights of my life was wearing the uniform. So, but it's like 29. I think it was 29 degrees down there in the gorge on Veterans Day. My feet had been numb hit the Portland at 84. By the time I hit Troutdale, I was pushing probably a 30, 35 mile an hour headwind all the way down to the Bonneville Dam. And it was crazy. Like I passed the Bonneville Dam and it was like somebody shut the switch off. The wind just died. And the temperature went from 40 degrees to 30 degrees as soon as the wind died. So the feet were numb by the time I got down there, and what should have been a 10-minute stop turned into like a 30 plus, trying to get feeling back in my feet. And backtracked and was questioning what I was doing. Got back out to Portland on the return run, and I will hog rider, no problem, man. Like I said, it was my pleasure. Got into Portland and it started to rain. I was supposed to run down to just past Drain there before you go head over to Grants Pass. Anyways, Roseburg. I was supposed to run down to Roseburg. But it's already raining in Portland. I'm doing the math in my head. I'm getting ready to backtrack, and it's going to be, a lot closer to midnight, a lot closer to freezing. So now I got to worry about ice coming back through Portland. And my feet are already numb. The heated gear's doing its job for the most part, keeping my core going. But turned the bike back north towards the house, man, and almost pulled the plug. If you guys have been following any of the adventure on Instagram, I was posting on that night that I was debating if I was going to finish the ride or not. I actually came back to the house and spent about 3 hours here at the house, thawing out, trying to figure out a route to put together that would be get me the miles I needed and, be safe, obviously, because that's a big part of doing these miles is it's we all want to do it. We all want to crush miles and ride, and we love riding, but we got to be safe, right?
That's a good point of it. And also, I mean, you get in the pouring rain riding into these interstates. I mean, it's not just the cold and the rain. And then also you got the visibility aspect from the rain, the wash. I mean, I had one of those heading down to Boise. Weatherman says, hey, not going to rain. It's going to be dry all day long. I hit the longhouse down at the casino outside of Squim, and it rained the whole way to Portland until I hung a left down there on 84. And then all of a sudden the rain quit, and then it got hot. It's like time to take the coat off and, trade coats. And luckily, Amy and the kids were following in the truck, so it's kind of changed some gear, try to dry some out, and we went from freezing cold to hot as could be.
Yeah, I think that's for anybody that's hanging out that's an aspiring long distance rider wants to chase these 1,000-mile days or longer, like a 48 and 10, like a Whit Mesa or the 50cc or any of those other, any of those other monsters. It's remembering to look at weather throughout your route, not just where you're leaving from. Because if I just jumped on the bike from here and left, I'd have been riding in snow-covered mountain passes multiple times if I wouldn't have looked at the weather at various points along the route, known what your route was. Like, I think you become a bit of a weatherman when you're starting to cross 3 and 4 and 5 states in a day.
Or you got to also make sure, not pull a go-home Ken, better known as Ken Andrews, who is a legendary long-distance rider. When he did the 48 and 10, he had it, I think it was 9 days, pulled into his house in Arkansas, starts getting all of his receipts, and realizes that he hit Florida but didn't stop in Florida. He stopped just on the other side of the border in Alabama.
Oh, man.
So he had the 47 and 9, so he literally packed up all of his shit, got back on the bike, and went and did it again. It's like, holy crap.
If only. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Maybe down the road I can do back-to-back 48 and 10s. But so I sat at the house. It was like 3 hours, ate some food, got out of the riding gear so I get the core temperatures up, get the feet going and everything. And believe it or not, that night, the weather was warmer up at Blaine at the border crossing. It was 10 degrees warmer at midnight in Blaine than it was at noon in the Columbia Gorge. So we strapped up and we boogied up I-5 and sprinted up to the Canadian border. Got my picture up there with Sasquatch and pulled my fuel receipt. And then we backtracked down and had to pass the house just a little bit and then loop back up. But we snuck it in. We ended up getting it in by the end of the day. So so we got it. It was that was one of those nights of embracing the suck and like figuring it out, right? Because sometimes that's what it is if I'd have just stopped where I was at in my mindset in Portland, like that'd have been it. I'd have pulled the plug there. I'd have come home with like a 600-mile day and been mad at myself for tapping out on 600 miles and only be at 19 right now. And I think that was some of the appeal for the Ride 1K in a day, for doing 1,000 miles 22 times. I think I mentioned it when Ramble asked me for a post about number 11. When I was halfway through, Ramble asked me to write something up. And I did that one on the Air Force's birthday. So I rode my 11th 1K for the Air Force's birthday, as a matter of fact. But one of the things I talked about in that post is I think a K in a day is a good analogy for what not only myself but a lot of the guys go through coming back. We get home from it, and it can be dark, and it can be, you're like, this is an insurmountable task. Like, there's no way through this. How am I going to do this? And anybody who's done a K in a day, at various points, I think we've all had that headspace of what am I doing, especially on your first one. I've done
about that halfway mark, 5/8 of the way through that 500 to 600, you start second guessing, like, what am I thinking? Dude,
I've done 20 of them this year, and I'll tell you what, the 400 to 600 mile mark still that 400 to 600 range. that message, that voice still pops up in my head. Even when I know I'm on a good pace, I'm tracking well, you're at like 425, 450 miles, and you're like, oh my God, I'm not even halfway yet. What am I doing out here? Why am I doing this? And then you hit about 550 and you're like, oh, I'm just over halfway. I still got so far to go. And for some reason, once I pass 6 and I start seeing 6 creeping towards 7, that voice kind of dies off. But it's a good example of just give up. Like you can't get through it, that you're not going to get through. And you feel like you're alone out there on the road. But, when you really break it down, like I got family that's supporting me. I've got, friends that are cheering me on for the ride. I've got, the dealership that helped me stay on the road. I've got, the awesome guys over at Lab over in Yakima. They helped me out with some stuff to help me with some visibility. I got those guys in my corner. Like I know, I'm out there crushing the miles by myself, but there's a whole support team that really gets you through those miles, right? So you're not really doing it alone. You're physically doing it alone, but you're not really doing it alone. And then the sun comes up, and depending on what time you left, the sun comes up, and it's absolutely beautiful out. And and you get to that 1,000-mile mark, you pull into the gas station, like, hey man, I did it. And that's why I think it fits really well, kind of with the Mission 22 message of like you can get through it. You trip as a zone, or do you catch yourself comparing? There's a few that to sidetrack real quick for wrench bender there. There's a few that they just kind of blur together because coming out of the house here and trying to be back every night, there was 3 to 5 routes that really I had dialed in. I knew where all the fuel stops were, and I could execute them within about 30 minutes of each. Like when I looked back on them, I was hitting them within about 30 minutes. I think I ran the Boise run like 3 or 4 times specifically down to Boise, and I ran all of them within about a 30-minute window of each other. So when they're boring and uneventful, they get a little looped in. But I've got a pretty good. My girlfriend suggested that I jot down some thoughts and notes from the year, from the rides, to kind of collect stuff together and some of the high points and things that stand out. But which it was good I did, because there was, as I thought back, I was like, man, that seems so long ago. And I'm like, wait, that was September.
Or, you go back to where you're talking about, that 400 to 600 mile mark. When we did the 1K for Mile Monsters.
Yeah, we did Monsters.
And we ran into horrible road conditions in North Cascades. What were we, like 300 plus miles in, and that was 11 o'clock. We started at 5 in the morning.
Yeah, we started doing the math. We had like a 27 mile an hour average or something in the first like 400 miles of the day, 300 miles of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you start to have that, can we really get this done?
Yeah, then it's like, like kind of had to do, you throw in that audible, hey, we're gonna trade this pass for this one, we can make time, we'll go this way. And sometimes you got to do that. But yeah, I mean, that was the same thing. It's like, man, you got to make it happen, and you overcome, and you do overcome adversity. I don't know what you want to call it, but yeah,
it's adversity, man. Adversity comes in many forms, and that's absolutely one of them. The rules are there to make it challenging. So it's not 1,000 miles in 25 hours. It's not 1,000 miles in 36 hours. It's 1,000 miles in 24 hours.
Right.
It's a K in a day.
Yep.
Not a K in a day.
The funny thing is, like, you're shooting for that record. I just found a separate record that you have that I bet you don't even know.
Probably not.
I know.
I didn't know I was going to have these ones till I was like a quarter of the way through my rides.
Well, so we had December 16th, 2020.
Okay.
The 16th episode on the V-Twin Life, Michael.
Yeah.
Then we had October 27th, 21.
I know
Milepost 40. And now we got Milepost 85, 12, 11, 22. Every year.
I knew I was the first repeat offender. That one I knew.
Yeah, and now, now you're a three-peat.
That's awesome, man. We got a little tradition going. We'll have to keep it up. Means I got to keep doing some epic shit, huh?
That's right.
To steal Riot's tagline.
Well, I mean, we
I
still got
to share it. I'm a mile monster, right? I got the certificate.
Right.
It says I'm a mile monster.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I got a roster number. It's mine too. Do epic shit.
That's right.
That's right there.
Yeah, mine's over there in the house. But no, and that's the other thing. We're gonna have to try to get together soon. I got some cool ideas, and like I said, you and I get together, and let's plan
You and we're already talking about 23. You and I have been throwing stuff back and forth. So.
Oh yeah, and I got some cool ideas, and I remembered another outtake from Mile Monster, so I thought, I got a nice little curveball I might throw in there, but we can talk about that off there because
you got to keep that
I'm
stuff
not
under
letting
wraps
that
for
out.
the time.
Right.
But no, man, it's like you said, it's definitely adversity. There was I don't even remember which number it was. So we keep talking about the record. I don't know how many people actually know what the record is. So let me just recap it real quick. So over at Ride 1K in a Day, Ramble and his awesome organization, the previous record for Ride 1K in a Day in a calendar year was 15. I'm currently at 20, chasing 22. Hopefully I get 2 more in. I got 2 weeks. But we're currently at 20 for the year, so we blew the year total out of the water by about 30%. The overall total at Ride 1K in a Day, all-time total at Ride 1K in a Day was 19. Well, it was 18 when I started. It's Rancho something. I forget his name.
Rancho Craigamunga?
Yeah, it's Rancho Craigamunga, I think is what it is.
I think so.
When I hit 18, he popped up with number 19, which put us neck and neck at 19. I currently, as of us being on the air, I currently hold the overall solo at 20. It sounds like Rancho might have knocked down a 20th, but I don't know if it's been in and certified or not. Ramble's, doing that thing, and he's going to let me know. But at the moment, as of the time coming on the air, I currently own the overall and the 1-year total ride records for Ride 1K in a Day. So that's the record we keep referencing for anybody who wasn't tracking what was up. Robin, I would love to come ride in Australia. I mean,
that would be cool as hell.
I would love to do it on a Pan Am. I don't think I'd want to do I don't know.
That would be fun too.
Plane ride.
No, Australia would be super cool.
Right? I think Belle and Scarlett wouldn't mind a reunion, though. That'd be kind of cool. Because Belle and Scarlett met each other when I was out on the 22 Park ride last year. So.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember the
video
you guys did.
We didn't meet Scarlett. That was Bob. Sorry, Robin. That was Bob we were on. She was on her Fat Boy that day.
Yeah, I remember the video you guys got down on the beach.
We did. We hung out down there by UCSB, and Robin was awesome and let me talk about what's going on in the veteran community out there. So she's got some ties to it as well. But if you're not following Robin, go check her channel out. She's got good stuff.
That's right. She's always got stuff going on. She's got a great channel and a great ambassador for the motorcycle community as well.
I see the Garage Life's in here too. There's another dude to go check out. I see probably the Bikers in here. A lot of good channels in there. Riding the Kings. And yes, I was riding on Bob that day. I got TBI, but some things I remember.
Now, that was quite the trip you did last year, your Mish 22, your 22 parks.
Dude, that trip, so like I said when we talked about it last time, I never thought I'd get to do that trip again. A little backstory for people new to the audience that might not have caught the other episodes. 6 years ago now, I did 22 national parks in 30 days. My work was awesome enough to give me a month off of work. Rode 22 national parks, raised a bunch of money for veterans suicide prevention programs. And like I've been doing, I just highlight how being in the parks and being out in nature and being on the bike just kind of helped. I documented the whole trip. I thought that was it. Thought that was the one and done. I was like, that was a bucket list ride. I'm never, like, maybe when I'm my parents' age, once
you keep talking, I got to get some wood in the fire.
Yeah, you good, man. Maybe, when the Social Security kicks in, maybe I'll get to go do 22 different parks or do the same ride again at some point. 5 years later, the opportunity presented itself. I was in a position to do it a second time. And work once again stepped up and was like, yeah, we were just going out on vacation. Like, we'd probably tell you to kick rocks, but since you're doing it for what you're doing it for, they were cool enough to give me a month off. So for the second time in 5 years, I did 22 national parks. It was about 7,300 miles in 3.5 weeks we did last summer, which was cool. And then this year we're doing the, chasing the 22 Ride 1K in a Day. So the park ride last year was pretty pretty epic too. There was some questions on that ride because there was historic flooding in Zion National Park. Anybody who keeps up with the National Parks services kind of knows what happened there. Their whole, like the visitor center, and one of the campgrounds got wiped out by mudslides, and that was a whole thing. Wasn't sure if I was going to make it into the park and we were going to end up at 21, or if I was going to have to figure out some way to call an audible to get a 20-second park in there. But I think you guys would have understood if I only did 21 that year. If the park was up buried in mud while I was out on the trip. But so that ride was cool. And then initially I planned on taking this year off. I just kind of wanted to do, I was doing Tour of Honor. Figured I'd do the Tour of Honor Iron Butt, which I never did, by the way. And then I was going to do Monsters Over Mountains with you, and that was kind of it. That was kind of all I originally had on the calendar for 2022. Last January, I'd kind of flirted with the idea of doing the 22 Iron Butts or Ride 1Ks, whatever you want to say. I'd flirted with the idea, and I was just like, and I just went hard last year, like, should take it easy, maybe do some local stuff, do some pop-up stuff here at the, some of the dealerships and some of the events here in the region, and park the bike a little bit and talk a little more. And then May time frame, I think it was early May, a fellow Mission 22 ambassador out on the East Coast, so last year while I was out on my parks ride last summer, she did 22 triathlons.
Jesus.
So my K in a day, I feel like a chump. All right. Everybody's like 22K in a day is insane. 22 triathlons in 12 months.
Yeah. That's like 2 a month average almost.
That's like a whole other arena, right? It's a different skill set. Don't get me wrong.
100%. I mean, that's even to do one of them. I mean, if a guy, even have that on your bucket list, an individual does one triathlon in their life, that is flat impressive.
Mm-hmm. And she carried a name on every one of them. So fast forward to 2022, she was doing these things called century rides. She had jumped on her road bike on her triathlon bike, and she was doing 100 miles in a day. And she was going to do 22 of them this year. And we were kind of going back and forth in the ambassador chat, talking about, I told her, I was like, for each century ride you do, I'll go do a K in a day. Because I figured that was a good ratio, right? If she's going to pedal 100, I should ride 1,000. Because riding 100, it's like, dude, I ride 100 before I get off the bike for the first stop when I leave the house. Like, that's not fair. So for equally challenging, it originally started out with, she does 100, I'll do 1,000. And she jumped out on me. She was like 4 or 5 rides in when I committed to it. So I started behind the 8 ball.
No, that's pretty freaking cool, though.
And that's really kind of what got the ball moving on chasing 22 of them this year. So yeah, it wasn't, which just sounds crazy when I say it out loud that I hadn't planned it. Like it wasn't never built into the schedule.
It's a good motivator, it's something to fuel your fire, and all right, it's like, hey, let's go, let's do this, and
some accountability for each other, right? Like, oh, they did one, cool, now I can go do one. Oh, she's 3 up on me, I gotta go do a couple and catch up. Which was cool. And the other kind of motivator, at least to get the first one under my belt, and you and I had talked about this a little bit. Like you said, we've been friends for a couple of years now. We were talking. I got shut out 4 times last year. I think I got shut out of K in a days. I think Whit and I were talking about that as well. Like 4 I made like 4 different attempts last year at Ride 1Ks, to just show you, to just the other side of the coin of how much luck is kind of involved and how much all of it has to come together to make these happen. My first one, I started in early March last year, and my first one, my heated gear crapped out on me in March, and everybody's like, oh, heated gear, you wuss. Bro, when it's 38 degrees out and you're doing 60, 70, 75, 80 miles an hour, it's
cold.
Yeah, it's 10 degrees out with wind chill, bro. Like, you can hate on me all you want. There's a very wide line between hardcore and stupid.
There you go.
And I've lived on both sides of it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I'm a saint. I've lived on both sides of that line. But so heated gear crapped out on that one, and had to go to the house because when you can't feel your fingers, it's kind of hard to work your bars. Second one, I got like 60 miles into it, and the rain was so bad it had soaked through 3 layers of my gear already. Like I was already wet to the skin after 3 layers. Sorry, I'm reading Springer Mike's comment.
Damn, I'm just making a note.
Yeah, Nick and I lived in the Pac Northwest for 30 years. How in the hell did you get mornings so far in 2022? A lot of people don't understand Pac Northwest weather. Yeah, I think Denver, I think you and I have joked about it. I know me and Brad over at Crash have joked about it, that there's waterproof. Like, companies will call their stuff waterproof.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you bring it out here to the Pac Northwest, and we'll find out if it's waterproof.
Yeah.
Like, we'll tell you if your gear is waterproof.
Yeah, there's water resistant, and then there's waterproof. 2 different things.
And then there's real waterproof.
Yeah.
The second attempt, I made it from so Springer Mike, you probably know the geography. Actually, it's on camera. I made it from there, just out of frame, to about there. I made it about here. We can do this. There you go. I made it from here to there, and my gear was soaked through. That's all the farther I made it. It was like 70 miles, and I had soaked through 3 layers of gear and was wet to my skin. So with like 950 miles to go, yeah, that day we weren't doing it. Third attempt, I made it as far as the Dalles, and the wind in the Columbia River Gorge scenic area is epic. It is next level. It's historic. Anybody who's been down there knows. Anybody who lives in the region knows. Now keep in mind, I'm riding that was the same bike. So I'm riding a 2020 Road King Special. So I've got the 114. It was straight stock at that point, so it wasn't stage 1 or anything. I've only got stage 1 on it anyway, so it's not like it's a huge performance gain. I'm riding a 2020 Road King Special with a 114. And the wind coming down the gorge that day was blowing so hard in my face that Bell was struggling to do the speed limit. If I would close the throttle, I would lose 15 miles an hour as soon as I closed the throttle.
I've had one of those days on my road glide. I couldn't break the speed limit. Same thing. You roll off that throttle, and it's like you're slamming on the brakes.
Yep. So, and then add in the 45 degrees, and the gear's on high, and it's barely can tell it's working. And I had another 100+ miles of that. So just out of, I'm like, this probably ain't the day. I think Mother Nature's telling me not to go. Yeah. And Wrench Bender Nick, you're right. The wind beats the crap out of you. When it hangs in the shower dripping for 2 days, it's not waterproof. You're right, man. When it's hanging, I leave stuff hanging in the garage. Actually, the helmet's sitting right down here. I got the liner out of it because it was sitting on the shelf in the garage and hasn't been warm enough to dry the liner out. So I got everything in here drying out. But so that was number 3. Number 4 is the one that hurts my soul to this day. My girlfriend is even mad for me, and anybody who rides who's done a K in a day will probably feel this pain when I tell you guys what happened. Denver, you already know this story. I was out on my Tour of Honor Iron Butt, running the Tour of Honor Iron Butt Extreme. I was coming in for my 4th point into Issaquah. It was like 11:30 at night, 878 miles into my Iron Butt. I was on track for about a 15.5-hour finish. Came down the off-ramp in the rain in the dark in Issaquah and hit a pothole I didn't see, and I flat spotted and cracked my rim radially. Ride over. 878 miles. Ride was over. The bike spent the next 6 weeks on a lift, waiting for a rim. I almost had to cancel my park ride because of that rim. If you guys were around last summer, you followed that whole drama, and I am still very grateful, and I will uphold my deal that I will never name 15 years construction up and down I-5 in the winter. Understand your pain. Yeah, you definitely get it. I had an amazing person step up and cover some costs to get the bike back on the road while I had a loaner rim, and that person shall remain anonymous per our agreement, even from a year and a half ago. But eternally grateful for that person for stepping up and helping out and keeping the park ride on track. So if you look at the park ride pictures on the Instagram and the Facebook and over on toolstosurvive.com, Bill did that whole thing on a donor rim. The front rim doesn't match. And that's why, because my stock rim was back ordered till October. So that was shout out number 4. And at that point, I decided it probably wasn't the year to be trying a 1K in a day. So we just focused on the park ride and having a good fall and enjoying some leisurely rides and not watching the clock for the rest of the year last year.
Well, then you had that one ride. What'd you get? Some torrential downpour up, where's that, Montana? 4th of July pass, when the pass will look like a river.
So I don't know how many people watched the national news this summer. If you're watching a live podcast about motorcycling, you're probably aware of Beartooth Pass and Yellowstone National Park and the 100-year storm that absolutely destroyed the roads and closed Beartooth and wiped out parts of Yellowstone. Your boy was out on a 1K in a day that day, and got east of Spokane, was coming out of CDA, heading 4th of July and Independence, and ran into the rain. And didn't realize it until the next day after I got done with the ride that I had rode into the back of that storm. I actually rode into the back of the storm that destroyed Yellowstone. Gore-Tex boots, like I've been rocking Icon Stormhawks all year this year until the last couple of weeks. Great boots. I absolutely love them. They're great off the bike. They're great for walking around. Not sponsored by any of these people, by the way. So, this is all free promotion for them to be talking about their gear. But they're
but you know, if the product works, and
hey, man,
a lot of us, I mean, hey, I got no problems.
I've been more than happy with those boots. They've done everything I needed them to. That day, even Gore-Tex has its life when it comes to water. I mean, I knew that from the military, that you reach a point where even Gore-Tex isn't waterproof anymore. But was absolutely soaked through. Like my feet were soaked, like they were squishy when I walked. even geared up and had my I didn't have my soft lowers. I didn't have my rain gaiters. I was not ready for that one when I ran into the back of it. I was like, whatever, it's rain. Like my boots have done fine in all the other rain I've ridden in. Yeah, I didn't realize I rode into the storm of a century that was going to destroy the Yellowstone caldera. So we backtracked into Spokane, stopped off at Lone Wolf, and wandered in there. And they're like, "What's up? You out on another one?" I was like, "Oh yeah." I was like, "I was just told them my story up in 4th of July and Independence," and they're like, "You do realize that storm caused flash flooding around here like the last 48 hours, right? Like there's still rivers around here above flood stage." I was like, "Nah, didn't have a clue." It's like I was just going to Missoula. I didn't think it'd be that bad.
Wasn't watching mainstream media on the news. Shit.
Right? I'm checking NOAA and I'm watching the regional radars and stuff, but I didn't catch the flood advisories on that one. And I figured, like it's moving east, like it'll be out of the way before I get there. Nope, caught that one. Ended up having to buy some Harley branded socks to get some dry socks on for the night, and so my feet weren't cold all night. Because after it's been 90 plus all day, 50, 55 at night is cold. Your 50, your temperature is half of what it was. So like cold, wet feet was not going to be an option after the sun went down. But called the audible, backtracked to Ritzville, boogied down through Tri-Cities, hit the gorge, and then back around that way and made the miles up that I couldn't make running out to Missoula. But yeah, that was a fun day. That was one I just kind of, in the moment, you're like, oh, dude, it's really raining. And then you watch the news the next day when you wake up and you're like, oh, it was really raining. Like, like historic raining.
God, so Ritzville 395, you hit that a few times last year or this year.
So many times. I'm surprised the crew at the Loves in Ritzville doesn't know who I am. Them and the Loves crew in Boardman, probably the two Loves that I visited the most this year.
Then it's like, you talk about the guys at Lab. You got to give a shout out for Bug Cleaner or Bug Slide. Yes, that is the shit.
That's one of the things they hooked me up with. I got one of the big bottles of Bug Slide.
I keep one in my saddlebag, and it's in my fucking left saddlebag is my bug slide.
It does do some interesting things when the weather gets low. I will say that. I don't know how it's amazing stuff. I absolutely love it, and I will never not have it again. But when you hit low 30s,
gels up a little bit.
What's that?
Gels up a little bit.
It's not so much that it gels up; it reacts rather weird on your windshield and on your visor. It's almost like it fogs out, and then I had to polish it off again because it puts that layer down to help clean up again the next time. Yeah, rode through a cold. I just encountered it down on the Redwoods Highway last weekend or the weekend before. Last weekend. Came around into another weather changed, running the coast there, and just whack. Visor was fogged over. I couldn't see anything. I had to flip it open.
Yeah, Nick said it reacts to frost.
Yeah, I just saw that. And Springer Mike's right. Soft lowers are a must if you don't run the hard ones. How could it be flooding? You soaked it all up. Yeah, and you're right. Hypothermia can start in the low to mid 40s. So, being mindful of all that and take care of myself, making sure I'm safe riding, so I don't have an off because my brain's not working right. Rain-X does good stuff too. The bug slide does great work. Like I said, I didn't run into anything with that till I was flirting with freezing last weekend, and there were a few spots where, and Veterans Day I ran into a little bit, but other than that, man, bug slide's amazing. It takes that stuff off great. Doesn't streak. So
that, and actually I have a Lucas Speed Cleaner, which I really like. I keep both those in my saddlebag. Yeah, it's a great product. Plus, half dozen, terry cloths, and got a big bag here in the shop and change them out. But never thought I'd be that guy that would pack cleaner, but you know what? I do.
Yep. Oh yeah. Especially when you're knocking out big miles, you almost have to. I joke all the time, got to stop and get ready for night operations. Stop and clean all the bugs off the headlight and off all the lights, and clean the visor and clean the windshield and change the mesh gloves out for the leather gloves, and maybe put the liner back in the coat and take the dark visor off, put the clear visor on, whatever it is,
Well, I'll admit, I've had a few guys, give me shit, but it's like, I got 4 or 5 pairs of gloves in my tour pack. I got my half fingers. I got really lightweight ones. I got middleweight. All the way up to, usually in the summertime, I will take my really heavy winter ones out. I won't keep those, but I'll still pack 4 or 5 pairs of gloves just because.
I usually have 2 to 3, and it moves up and down the spectrum as the season goes on. So once I hit a certain point where I'm I know I'm not going to wear my mesh ones anymore. Those just stay home, and then it's just my leathers, and then my gauntlets, and then my heated gauntlets, and then we shift down the other way and go gauntlets and leathers and mesh, and then eventually it's just.
I haven't gone to the heated yet. Fucking Betty's plugged for it, for the heated gear, but I haven't gone down that turnpike yet and taken that corner.
It's kind of like a rider backrest or highway pegs, man, and cruise control. You don't actually need any of those things, but once you have them,
it's
never going to want to not have them.
I remember when I took the Indian Challenger out on test ride. Yeah. And then it's I go to put my feet, I'm like, fuck, there's no highway pegs, no crash bars. This is stupid. Instantly, I didn't like it. You get used to those comforts that you have. We all outfit our bikes to fit us, and it's those little things that you realize they make a big difference. Whether you're riding 10 miles, 15, 1,000. There's little things that we all do to our bike to outfit us to what we like for our creature comforts, and all of a sudden when you hop on something and you don't have it, it's what the fuck?
I will hog, man. I'm 41, and it's all about the comfort, all right? There were some hard miles in my 20s and 30s, though, so maybe my body thinks it's over 50, but...
Jesus, I didn't realize I was that much older than you. God damn.
Yeah, I turned 41 in July.
Fuck, I'll be 45 in March.
Yeah. You're the same age as my sister. I saw things somewhere. I think it was when I was in Iraq. I saw a thing. People don't understand something. I'm passing the Pac Northwest, and maybe summer, but up at the top, temperature dropped dramatically.
That's very true. I was down in Clackamas at a baseball tournament. I rode down there to watch my son play baseball, and figured this was 3-4 years ago. I'd never been up to Mount Hood. I figured, hey, cool. I got on Google. Hey, Timberline Lodge. I'm going to go check it out.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was was it Madras? Stopped to get fuel. And I just, T-shirt and my vest on. The guy's like, hey, where are you heading? Oh, I'm going to go up Timberline. He's like, you got a coat? I'm like, no, dude, it's like 105. He's like, not up there. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's beautiful. And it's just one of those things. And I'm like, oh, I'll be fine. I got a sweatshirt. Shit. I got up there. It was like 40 people were still snow skiing. And this was July.
Yeah.
I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Got me a couple quick pictures. It's like, get the hell back down the mountain to where it's warm.
I think it was 3 years ago. Me and the girlfriend were out. So her birthday is Memorial Day weekend. So we always plan a 4-day weekend on the bike, kind of before or after, right? Like I hate being out on the road holiday weekend. So we usually go the weekend before or weekend after, but right around Memorial Day. Same thing, man. It was like 70 and sunny on this side of the mountains. We're coming back over from Yakima, and we expected some rain in Packwood. Dude, we got snowed on up on top of Chinook. From the last gate at the top of Chinook all the way around to the T intersection there for 410 to come down Cayuse. It was snow. Passing the lake there, I was riding in probably 3 inches in a tire track of the car in front of me. Just had the 4-ways on. We're just putting along. Windshield's completely covered in snow. There's probably an inch of snow on the bike by the time I got down. There were dudes that were still walking up the incline next to the lake there. They were backpacking up and skiing down, doing some lake country, just looking at us, just shaking their head. I'm like, bro, like 2 miles that way, it's rain. And like 2 miles that way, it's rain. But there's like a 5-mile stretch right here where there was like 2 inches of snow on the road.
Amy. Yeah. Amy hates Chinook Pass. Oh, see, Amy doesn't like heights.
Oh.
You know that little drop off there?
I get why
going from east to west. Yeah. Not a fan at all.
Leave Amy home when you do go into the Sun Road.
She's done that though.
How does she hate Chinook and she's done going to the Sun Road?
I think she did in a car when she was younger with her family. They had family over there. Her family was over in Great Falls, Conrad area in Montana, so they used to go that way a lot. Okay.
Because, that's literally, like, there's some stretches there where you're mountain goating along those mountains.
And 99, a blizzard on Salem Pass on 4th of July.
Where's that one at?
That's Eastern Washington.
I've probably been through it and don't even know it. Where is it?
Yeah, you have. I think it's kind of one of those passes where it's like you really don't know you're going over a pass.
Is it with an ancient guardrail? Yeah. Third week of July is usually a good week to plan, but out here the wildfire season's usually rocking and rolling by then. The only reason we didn't have wildfire season this year is because everything was already burned. But so a couple of other fun facts. I don't know if I've dropped these on you about these rides yet, Denver. First one wasn't until the third week of May. Armed Forces Day was the first one of the year. And the 20th was 19 was Black Friday, 20 was Saturday. So I did 20 of them in right at about 6 months was what I actually did it in.
Damn.
The other thing that makes 6 months sound even crazier is I was still working 50 hours a week every week. Other than the week I was on vacation when I went to Colorado.
Yeah, that's putting the time in both ways.
So that Iowa Hog Rider, come on out during the summer, man. I grew up in Wisconsin. The old man used to run down to Cedar Rapids 5 nights a week.
Okay, so Mike, you know where Mount Jefferson is in Oregon?
Oh, okay.
So Salem Pass is just south Mount Jefferson on the highway. I just Googling it.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Kind of down by we got Salem Junction, then you're just north of the South Sister Mountain.
Okay. Yeah. Probably haven't been.
Mount Washington.
Probably haven't been over it yet.
I think we should put it on our list. We might have to check that out next year.
There you go. I've probably ridden more Iowa than I have Oregon at this point, or Idaho than I have Oregon at this point. But
I want to check some stuff out in Oregon, so we're gonna have to.
Oh, I got a laundry list, dude. I got a whole list in the phone. I don't know if I'll ever get to all of it, but
if I write it down in my little book that I have here, the Black Book V Twin Life, I won't forget to check it out. Because I'm really, hey, that's good, and then I totally space it. And
oh God, Brad found another cheesehead. I grew up just outside Racine in southeast Wisconsin, man, a little town called Franksville, and then I lived up in Ashland for a few years as well. I still got a lot of family in West Dallas, St. Francis, South Milwaukee, Oak Creek. My parents are still out in Raymond near Union Grove. So,
hey, what's up, Satan's Child?
Yeah, so yeah, southeast Wisconsin's where I really grew up.
So what's kind of on the agenda for next year? Do you have anything? I mean, besides, of course, you're going to come with me for Monsters Over Mountains because I can't do it without you, but you know.
Right. Flirting with the idea. Looking at, I mean, I'm flirting with it. I've got enough interest in it. I'm going ahead with it, I think. We're going to make a run on the group ride record for Ride 1K in a Day. Try and take that title as well. So, Cuba City. Okay. Southwest side. Done a lot of good camping over in that area. Beautiful part of the state. So probably June timeframe, looking at making a group run. Try and take the group ride record. Cool part is some of the guys that currently hold the group ride record. I mean, we both know them. Brad's one of them. You know, Connor, those guys. Those guys potentially are joining in. We haven't finalized the list of who's all going, but
I know. See, June 17th, I got my Monster 100 day. Colin is the 18th. He's riding Sunday after my day.
Yeah. So we're looking right around there. We'll figure it out. Just because I don't want to steal the noise from what you guys are doing for the Monster 100, and because we're probably putting the group ride together to do some stuff with Mission 22. Trying to get a couple dealerships involved with that, and some parties like at the turnaround point and stuff. So I haven't really nailed the date down yet. I was waiting for you guys to kind of finalize in on the Monster 100, and we'll see where we can fit it in. So tentatively June, we're looking at it. May get pushed into July. July timeframe. Pretty much everybody here knows the 120th birthday for Harley is happening. The cool part is the homecoming is the weekend of my birthday. And my sister lives about 10 minutes from the museum. Like, we can pretty much walk to the museum from her house. So be cruising out, meeting my buddy in the Sturgis area. We'll kick around there for a couple days, you know, do Iron Mountain, all that fun stuff. Do all the Sturgis riding without the Sturgis rally. And then the two of us will cruise back over to Milwaukee, party for the 120th and my birthday and Harley's birthday. And then we'll turn around and ride home. Hey, what's up, brother? Good to see you. So dude that just popped up, that's my brother right there. He was my gunner in Iraq and he was my wingman in Afghanistan. So
dude, that is awesome. Hey, Curtis, hey, thank you for your service also.
So that's a good dude right there.
Actually, Iowa Hog, I will be in Sturgis this year. More details to come on that.
I won't be at the rally, the Sturgis rally, but I will be at the Milwaukee. I'll be at the 120th for Milwaukee, in Milwaukee. So, but yeah, if Curtis were to text me right now and say he needed me in Texas, I'd shut this live feed off and leave. So,
yeah, and as Springer Mike put it, you know, you have to, you know, mark your calendar, Mike, because Wrenchbender Nick and Springer Mike, they'll be up here the weekend, June 24th, 25th. They'll be kicking up here at the house.
Okay.
You take them around the peninsula, do some barbecuing and shit.
Yeah, for sure. Looks like Iowa Hog will be at both rallies, so he'll be able to find Denver at Sturgis and catch up with me.
Yeah, I'll let you know which one. I will actually be. I'll be at the Wild Ass booth for a week doing Wild Ass, slinging seats and meeting all you guys.
So, yeah, there you go. But yeah. See, this is what's great about the motorcycle community, man. Bringing people together. Miss you, brother. Oh, yeah, we'll make our way down there. Actually, work just asked, they're looking for people to go down to Baytown. The only problem is they want us to go the week of Christmas and New Year's, so I don't know if I want to go. But
hey, that's the wrong glass. What the hell are you doing, Mike?
What's that?
That's the wrong glass.
It's almost empty and it's 14%.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I just had to give you shit where I could, you know? Yeah, that looks like a meal in a glass. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, dude, this stuff is so good.
I'll take your word for it.
So Merry Christmas, You Filthy Animal by Fob Brewing in DuPont, Washington. Their limited bottle release for Christmas this year. It is an imperial stout, 14%, hints of chocolate and graham crackers. So it's kind of like getting drunk on fucking s'mores. It's amazing.
Actually, I got an early Christmas present from my son Hayden and his girlfriend. They got me the Brewers Advent calendar for 2022. So I'm a couple days behind. So I'll start it tomorrow, and then I think Christmas I'll start working backwards.
There you go. Drink all 12 on Christmas.
No, that'd be bad. No, just one. We'll just slowly work our way down. Maybe New Year's there'll be like 3 left. We'll do 3 of them on New Year's.
242 in Oregon. That one might be on my list.
I think that's the Salem Pass.
Yeah, I think that one's on my list. So
if I zoom in closer, it would tell me, but no, it doesn't.
Is that the one they refer to as like Oregon's Tail of the Dragon?
It looks like it because it is pretty fucking twisty.
Corona. Yeah, I think 242 is the one they sometimes refer to as Little Tail of the Dragon or Oregon's Tail of the Dragon or whatever it is.
It looks pretty fucking awesome on the map. Looking at it.
Yeah, I think that one's on my list. So, yeah, that one's in there. Yeah, there are a whole bunch of them. There are too many to list off. Unfortunately, I mean, good and bad. I probably rode. I know for a fact I rode more slab this year. Like I rode more interstate this year than I ever probably want to ride again. But when you're chasing,
hey, thanks Iowa Hog man. Thanks for tuning in, man, and greatly appreciate you always here.
Yeah, good chatting with you, man. We'll hit me up over on Instagram if you can, or find me here. We'll link up for Milwaukee. But when you're chasing the clock, yeah, sometimes it makes sense. And then there's days like there was like 4 of my rides that
Iowa Hog got it. He must have been on Military Bikers live that one time. Just keep me off the DiSerrano and Coronas.
Yeah.
Oh, them are good. That's like drinking Dr. Pepper, man. They're dangerously good.
Yeah. So when they sneak up on you, it's like those, man. They go down too easy. So you're fucked up.
No, you take a shot of DiSerrano and you drop in a bottle of Corona and you swear to God you're drinking Dr. Pepper, dude. It's no joke.
I mean, you got to do something to Corona to make it drinkable.
Got a point.
So there were 4 rides this year. I was thinking back on it, and I think it's 4 is the number that by the 100-mile mark, the route I left the house with is not the route I rode by the time the ride was over. I'd be out and I'm like, I'm sick of riding the interstate. I want to do something different. And I would literally make up the ride as I went.
But, and sometimes that's half the fun of the adventure, whether, like say you're doing a K, iron butt, saddles or whatever you want to call it, or if you're taking off on a 2 or 3 day trip. It's like, hey, cool. I'm going to leave, I'm going to leave the Lacey area, and in 2 or 3 days, I want to be in fucking Boulder, Colorado. Cool. There's my destination. That's where I want to be, and then just enjoy the back roads, scenic roads, and just really no plan in a way, just ride and enjoy the time. That's
how the girlfriend and I did so we went to, we did Colorado. We did the Western Slope, Colorado in July, took vacation. I got another one of my brothers that we were in Afghanistan together. He lives in Boise, so we knew the first night we were going to Boise because we were going to hang out at their house. So we did that, and then we knew I think it was 3 days later we needed to be in Durango to meet up with my other brother, and we were going to spend 3 days in Durango, riding around the area. We spent one day on the train doing the Durango Silverton train, and then I think we had 2 days to ride. And before we had to turn around and come back. And that's basically what we did. Is once we left Boise, it was like, what do you want to do? You want to do this? Cool, let's do that road. Hey, do you want to spend the night in Moab? We got an extra day. We can spend the night in Moab and kick around Moab for the afternoon, or if we push in, we can do an extra day down to Mesa Verde. In hindsight, I probably should have done Moab and not done Mesa Verde. As beautiful as Mesa Verde was, and as much as I love Mesa Verde, and it was amazing staying in the lodge at Mesa Verde and drinking coffee with the deer on the other side of my railing for my deck was cool. It's also where I got COVID.
Hey, not trying to change the subject, talking about different places when to spur of the
get-
moment. Have you rode through Craters of the Moon National Monument in Idaho?
I have not. It was we were originally going to.
Yes, I rode somewhere in Idaho. You didn't. You've been there a lot. I like
We
it.
were gonna do so. We were gonna do Craters of the Moon on the way back from Colorado because the original plan was her sister lives down by on the New Mexico side of Four Corners, right down by Monument Valley. She's like an hour south of Durango. So we cruised down there, and the original plan was to leave her house to do a K in a day on the way back. Big Brother in Gillette, 109 miles from Sturgis. Let us know. Cool.
Yeah,
Man.
see, Springer Mike and his brother Wrenchbender Nick, they met up with me and Amy and Jason Hayden when we all went over for the Hoka Hay. They live in Gillette, and so
Nice.
they met us there and came over, and oh man, it was super fun. That's why they're coming up here this summer.
Awesome. Yeah,
Awesome
I'll try and remember.
I'll remind you when you get close to that.
Yeah.
I can shoot you some phone numbers so you can get in touch with me in that area, man. They can show you some cool places.
Yeah, for sure. Keep me honest. But so the original plan was we were gonna do a K in a day out of their place in New Mexico and finish up, like, I think it was Idaho Falls area was where we would have finished up, and then from there we could decide if we were gonna do Craters of the Moon or if we are gonna go up and do Lolo and come home. I woke up that morning, felt like absolute ass. It didn't help. It was 80 degrees in their house. I don't know why. Like, I confirmed it. I looked at the thermostat on the wall. I'm like, why is it 80 degrees in here? It's fucking insane. But just had a really dry cough. Could not get the scratch out of the back of my throat, and just kind of was gassed. I didn't have a ton of energy. So she's like, "You sure you want to do this K in a day?" I'm like, "Let's pull the receipts. We'll see." There's a lot of days where I kind of feel like crap at the beginning of the day, and then oh, for sure. A lot of days, I kind of feel like crap the first couple hours on the bike, and then it just kind of gets out of my system. And I'm good to go for the day. So I was like, let's pull the receipts and we'll run. And if I start feeling better, we'll go. And if I don't feel better, we pull the plug and whatever. We're not out anything. I throw the receipts away. We made it back to Durango and we spent like 45 minutes eating breakfast. And I was just like, today's not the day. Like, I'm not feeling better. We booked.
And that's one thing to say, because doing that, you kind of got to be in the right frame of mind. If your body's just telling you no, then don't fight yourself to make yourself do it and put yourself in what possibly could be a dangerous situation.
I think that was one of the things that made me successful to get to 20 was listening to the bike, listening to my body, and being honest about it. Like, taking that time to assess it. Like, while we were sitting there eating breakfast, it was assessment time. It was, all right, am I enjoying vacation and I want to be lazy, or do I genuinely not feel good and I can't push this 1K? So that, you got to have that assessment. It's that self-talk of, I don't want to stare down the barrel of another 1,000, or do I actually not feel good? That day I genuinely did not feel good. We booked a hotel in South Salt Lake, because that kept us on track for our return ride home based on not doing any K in a days. And then we just took our time. We had the hotel. We took the rest of the day to get there. It was only like a 400-mile day. Got into the hotel, walked in, dropped our stuff. I ate and I passed out. I was asleep by like 8:30. Woke up the next morning, was feeling a lot better, but not great. I had more energy, but I still had the dry cough and that whole thing. Really wish I would have had a moto jug for that trip in hindsight, but I didn't have it yet.
So you got one now, or are you still looking?
So what I actually did, I bought the moto jug hose kit, because you can buy the hose kit separate from the carrier. Because if you follow moto jug for a while, they used to do, like, the Coleman cooler used to come as part of the kit. Now you just get the bag and the hose kit, and you have to buy your own cooler because of cost, right? That's how they had to control costs, because of the way everything's going. Their thing is set up for one of those big, like, gallon jugs, and it's really designed to kind of sit on the passenger footboard strapped to your bag guard. Well, my Road King Special doesn't have bag guards. That's the first thing. I'm
not a fan of them either, just personally.
Yeah, they I'm sure Frank loves his after last week, but
I'm sure he does. Absolutely.
They definitely serve a purpose, man. They do their job.
For those who don't know, we're talking about Frank, who's better known as
Watch out for us
on Instagram. He hit black ice doing an iron butt last weekend down in Oregon.
I'll catch you up on that story once we get to
the
story.
So we can get to that. But yeah, it's like he was saying, he goes, man, you wouldn't think you'd hit black ice in 42 degrees, and he ended up laying the bike down. I don't think he was at a high rate of speed at that time, and him and the bike came out pretty damn good for
Given
considering
putting
your bike down. Right. Yeah, when you can walk away and very minimal damage.
Yeah, he rode it
mainly
home
cosmetic. So
yeah,
yep,
yeah, it worked out.
Hey, right here, Mike. I got you, buddy.
There you go. Spring bike. Cheers, good sir.
It's his fault that I'm hooked on this goddamn Jim Beam and squirt.
I mean, there's worse things to be hooked on.
This is true, and it's pretty damn good. But I gotta say, if you like
not meth,
an apple taste, the squirt and the Captain Morgan's apple, the apple spice rum and squirt. Holy shit, that's fucking good.
Right on.
But so is Jim Beam and squirt. I was never a bourbon fan until I met up with Springer Mike over in Sturgis, Rapid City area when they camped with us that weekend, and he turned me into a Jim Beam guy.
There you go.
And I've never looked back.
So, little asterisk to this whole ride 1K a day coming back from Colorado thing. I didn't know I had COVID yet. I just didn't feel good. And I thought I was just really dehydrated from it being 110 degrees and me not getting in front of the dehydration. That's what I really thought it was. Woke up in Salt Lake, I was feeling 50% better, which was good enough. And I was like, it was my birthday. I woke up that morning in Salt Lake City. It's my birthday. I'm feeling better than I did the day before. And I looked at the girlfriend and I was like, you want to do this? And she's like, do you want to do this? I was like, oh, I'm doing it. And you're on the bike, so I guess you're doing it because I'm doing it. And she was, the voice of reason. She kept tabs on me. I'm glad she was with for that ride. Made me listen to myself a little more than I probably would have if I was solo. But so we start banging up 15, and I knew if we ran up 15 till we hit 90.
Oh, you're awesome, Robin. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good. She's not wrong. All right.
A valid point.
In Denver's defense, Robin, it depends on the bourbon.
Got a point.
Good bourbon, you need to drink neat.
Yes. Or on the rocks.
The flavored bourbons, the flavored whiskeys, those are designed to be mixed with stuff. So
I will say that I'm just doing the original straight Jim Beam with some squirt, and it's fucking good.
There you go. I don't know how the Red Stag would mix in there, but
I don't know.
Might have to find out. Anyways.
Back to your story. I didn't mean to interrupt, bro.
Oh, you're good. We're talking about bourbon. It's all good. Yeah, Chris the Dude. There you go.
Yeah.
But so 15 to 90 to 5 will take us home, and it'll put us at a K just before we hit the house. So the gas station at the house ends up being the end fuel receipt. So we're boogieing up 15, making good time. We're heading 90 west, and we're coming through. We're past Ritzville. We're coming down towards Vantage. We're about 20 minutes out of Vantage, and I start getting the droopy eyes. Like the lanes are getting blurry. Like sleep is hitting me. Like you got to pull over and take a nap. So we pull into the Wild Horse Monument, the viewpoint there at the top of the gorge,
right
above the bridge. And if anybody who's been to those viewpoints knows, there's no streetlights or anything. It's literally just a slab of blacktop in the middle of nowhere on top of a cliff.
And it's dark for about the next 40 fucking miles.
Yeah, there's nothing out there. I completely unannounced. I didn't say anything on the headset to the girlfriend that I was having any kind of issues. Like, I just knew, I'm like, I need to stop. So as soon as I saw the exit, I just down the ramp. And she's like, everything okay? I was like, I need to stop. Like, I need to take a break. And she's like, okay. We pull into the very last parking spot down at the end of the sidewalk. I put the kickstand down. She gets off the bike. I looked at her. I was like, smoke 2 cigarettes and wake me up. And I laid down on the sidewalk and passed out. She said I was snoring within 30 seconds. Done. So she sat there. She's got a cool little phone app, helps you like look at the sky and stuff.
Yeah, Wrench. The fuel receipt is a timestamp.
Yep.
It helps
Data
track
business
your
to feed
time.
tracks your location.
Yeah, your first one when you start, that timestamp on your gas receipt is your starting time, and then you keep your fuel receipts, which also documents your route, so
Yeah,
it can be
you
easier
take
to
your
follow
picture, your
which way you
fuel
went.
receipt next to your odometer each time you stop for your date, time, location, and what your odometer reading is. So yeah, she pulled out her little app that helps like navigate constellations and stuff, and she was just having a good old time out there in the dark because it's so dark out there at Vantage. And she's like, and she finally tapped me on the foot. She's like, "Hey, time to wake up." And I sat up. I was like, "Cool, you ready to go?" And she's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I just need a nap." I was like, "How long was I out?" She's like, "I don't know, like 45 minutes." I was like, "We gotta fucking go. Get on the bike." And felt right as rain. I had all the energy I needed at that point. So we boogied down and we hit Clay Ellum. And like I'm standing at the fuel pump at Clay Ellum. She's throwing on extra layers. Like she's already got all her liners zipped into her coat. She's pulls that off. She's putting a hoodie on and zipping her coat back over it. She's putting her rain pants on to cut the wind over her riding pants. And I'm standing there fueling the bike. And she's like, "You're shivering." I'm like, "That's good. It means I'm warming up." She's like, "What?" I'm like, "I wasn't shivering when we pulled into the gas station." Like we had been there probably 5 minutes before I started to shiver. I was like, "That's a good sign. It means I'm warming up." She's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." I'm like, "I'm just cold. It sucks out here. Like I didn't plan on running into 52 degrees or whatever it is out in Ellensburg, you know." She's like, "This sucks." I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, I looked at the odometer. I'm like, "We're in Clay Ellen. We're like an hour from home. They're
Well,
hour and a
yeah,
half from home."
I mean Ellensburg, Vantage, that whole area of Central Washington is nothing but a wind tunnel.
Yeah, it's. I don't know what's. I think the gorge is worse just because it's funneled in, but the wind is the same. At least
Yeah,
out there,
true.
it's a steady blow. But so she's standing there freezing. I'm starting to shiver, and I look at her. I'm like, "You want to stop?" She's like, "How far do we have to go?" I was like 95 miles. She's like, "Shut the hell up and get on the bike."
There you go.
I'm like, "See, this is why we work." Most other women would have been like, "I'm cold. I just go to the hotel. I don't care." She's like, "Shut up and finish. I don't want to do this again."
Yeah.
But ended up, it was great. We got over Snoqualmie. Weather was good over Snoqualmie. It was just colder than we planned on. And by the time we got down to 18 to go over Tiger, weather was great. Warmed up probably 15 degrees, and we rocked and rolled back to the house. I didn't even unpack the bike. Pulled in the garage, kickstand down, walked in the house, shedded all my gear, fell down in bed, slept for like 12 hours, woke up the next morning, took a COVID test because I'm supposed to be at work on Monday. This is Sunday. This is like, we walked in the door at like 2:00 Sunday morning. And I slept for like 12 hours. So it's like 2 or 3 in the afternoon on Sunday. I'm supposed to work on Monday. And I'm like, I feel like ass. I should probably find out if I have COVID. Finally took a test. It was like, "Oh, look, I'm positive for COVID." So I've joked ever since that riding 1K in a day really isn't that hard. You can even do it with COVID.
Oh, there you go. That's funny.
But then you fast forward a couple of weeks, and I had a day off of work. I forgot how I was off. Anyways, I did one on a Tuesday. Once I was committed to this thing, I was like, I'm doing one on a Tuesday. I decided at some point I wanted to do one on a Tuesday, because you're like, I joke all the time about stuff. I'm like, it's just a Tuesday. Like whatever, that's just Tuesday. Like ain't nothing special. It's just Tuesday. Like I've joked for a long time that Tuesday is the day that time forgot. Because like Monday you got Monday Night Football, Thursday, Friday you got football, Saturday, Sunday you got football, Wednesday's hump day, everybody's getting ready for the weekend, but nobody really celebrates or even thinks about Tuesday. Like it's just second Monday, right? Tuesday's just second Monday. Like
yeah,
it's the day that everybody forgets about. So to say it's just Tuesday, like it's just another thing. So I wanted to do one on a Tuesday so I could be like, okay, in a day is just a Tuesday. So I did one on a Tuesday.
Hey, why not? It's another day.
Yeah, it's just another
one
day.
That's not claimed.
Yeah, K in a day is just another Tuesday. Whatever. You're nothing special. It's just a K in a day.
Yep. Just another reason to go ride.
Like I need one. Other than I want to.
There you go.
I'm an adult and I can do what I want.
Yeah. You got a bike in the garage. You want attention, so you go take it out.
There you go. So Frank, Mr. Watch Out for Us, in his Canada day. I left morning. I was supposed to leave on Thanksgiving. The original plan was to do as many as, if things would have worked out, I was going to do 4 and 4 and be done Thanksgiving weekend. There you go, Satan's child. Talk about fucking Tuesday.
There you go.
The original plan was roll out of bed Thursday morning. We had done Thanksgiving Sunday because, you know, other family commitments and stuff. People were going to be gone, so we had done Thanksgiving early. So Thursday wasn't actually Thanksgiving. So the plan was get up Thursday, hit the road, get down into Cali. I got a buddy that lives down in Turlock. You know, another Army buddy lives down in the Turlock area near Fresno. So the plan was crush a K down to his place, spend the night at his place. You can do a loop like down through Death Valley in Las Vegas and back around and come back up to Fresno. It's like another K in a day. Or my aunt lives in Mesa. I was going to boogie down to her place and back, spend another night, and then either do a third one before I cruised back north or take the day off and then on Sunday do a K back and be back Sunday night and be done. I would have been at 22 at that point, either 21 or 22. Woke up Thursday morning, there was freezing fog.
Yeah, pass on that stuff.
Yeah, we'll pass. Fog didn't really burn off till almost noon, so that kind of threw off the whole timeline for the weekend. So that kind of messed that up, which turned my 4 and 4 into a 2 and 2, and cruised down to what was it, Coalinga? I think that's how you say it. Anyways, ended up having to get out to the coast, and thanks to Brad over there at Crash Inc. for the insight down in that part of the neighborhood. I was looking for a good place to cross over because Siskiyou Pass was going to be the problem, right? It's like snow in Siskiyou Pass, Grants Pass area was going to be an issue. But I knew I could get out to the coast and I could get down Redwoods Highway, and that would get me into Cali. The question was where to cross over. Because if you're not familiar with the Oregon coast, from Astoria to basically Coos Bay is nothing but towns and state parks. So
very slow going.
It's absolutely beautiful, but it's also absolutely turtle speed to get there. As a matter of fact, running it through Google Maps while I was ride planning, it was like a 2-hour difference. It went from like a 17.5-hour day to like a 19.5-hour day if I'd have crossed over to Astoria. So the plan was...
it's some beautiful scenery, but it is very slow going.
Like I said, if you're not in a hurry, it's the way to go. If you're racing the clock, bypass it. So the plan was get as close to the Siskiyou, as close to Grants Pass, Siskiyou area as I could, hit the coast, get south, and then cross back over to I-5 as soon as I could. I was just going to box my way around the Siskiyous. Brad stepped in, was like, hey, man, cross over at Drain, run that out to Coos Bay. Best way to go. You shouldn't have any snow. That's the way we always go out. All right, cool. So boogie out to Coos Bay, run down the Redwoods Highway, top to bottom, all the way to till I hit 580 down there in San Francisco. 101 from the state, like from Coos Bay to like Eureka. I couldn't see jack shit, but it was such a fun road. Like it was dark. It was dark by the time I got to Crescent City. Like the sun went down somewhere between Coos Bay and Crescent City.
See, I would love to ride there, but of course in the daylight would be just freaking amazing.
I was lucky enough to ride that stretch. I mean, you can say lucky. I rode that stretch in the daylight during my park ride last year, but the fog was so thick I couldn't see anything anyway, so it was just like riding it at night. I've been through there 3 times now. I've still never been through there when the sun is, when I have good sight lines. But the road's fun, so whatever, I either would slow down and enjoy the scenery, or I'm going to enjoy the fun road. So,
that's what it's about.
Yeah,
take your pick. Maybe you get best of both.
Yeah, one of these days I'll catch both. But yeah, so we boogied down 580 out to Tracy, hit I-5 down to, like I said, I think it's Coalinga is the name. I forgot. Whatever. I mess up all those towns in California. I don't have to say any of them. I'm too Northern European. I don't have the right accent. Wind road therapy. Hey. Spend the night down there. I was in the hotel like 6 hours. Wake up in the morning and getting ready to work my way back north. And I see our buddy Frank there has hit the road on his own 1K in a day that day. And he lives on the other side of the mountains. The weather's a little different coming out of that area. So he had run down 97 through Central Oregon. He was coming down 95, 97, whatever it is. But he was eating breakfast when I woke up. So he's like, hey, man. He's like, he hits me up. And he's like, we should try and link up. I was like, hell yeah, I'm down. Like, we've shared half of an iron butt before. Why not? Let's do it. Where are you crossing over? And we started talking. And the original plan, we were going to link up in Eureka. Because it was 25 degrees or some crap like that where he was at. And I'm like, that's why I'm running the coast, dude. It's like 45 and raining out there versus 25 and sun inland.
Yeah. And ice and all the other bad shikaka.
Yeah. So he's like, cool, I'll backtrack. I'll work my way across through Grimes Pass. I'll meet you in Eureka. So we were planning on meeting at Redwood Harley there in Eureka. Well, I'm an idiot and I don't know how to read. But as we're working our way up, we're trying to dial everything in. And he's like, hey, what he actually said was, I'm only going to make Crescent City, meet me there. Or I'm only going to make Crescent City about 4:30. What I read as I was going down the highway was he had just got to Crescent City and he'd be in Eureka about 4:30.
Oh, that explains
So in
it.
my brain, I'm like 45 minutes behind him. I'm like, that's not fair. Or we were like 30, 40 minutes apart. Like we were going to hit each other within an hour. And being the fact that we're coming from almost 1,000 miles apart to land in a 30-minute window, I don't think we did too bad for winging it. Till I get to Eureka and I'm hanging out at Redwood Harley. I'm like, hey man, I'm here. Where are you at? And he's like, you're here. Where are you? I'm like, I'm at Redwood Harley. Where are you? He's like, I'm here in Crescent City. He's like, so then the phone rings. Dude, what are you talking about? He's like, did you read my text message wrong? I was like, apparently. I went back and reread it. I screwed up. What I should have done is push through Eureka and met him in Crescent City. We're only like 90 minutes apart. So he was going to start working his way south. I was going to work north, and we were going to meet kind of in the middle. I forget the name of the little town we were going to meet at. But it's also where I hit my 1,500 for my bun burner. That's why we were going to meet there. And then he's like, hey, is that storm that's supposed to come in? Is that supposed to come in tonight, or is it coming in tomorrow night? I was like, dude, it's here. Like, WashDOT's already, like, warning about the passes. Like, it's already hammering Everett and Stevens Pass. Like, it's already here. He's like, oh, crap, I got to check the weather. I got to worry about getting home. I'm like, check it out. You check your routes, check your weather. I'm going to hit the road. If you got to backtrack, like, just tell me that you got a boogie. Just send a text, say, got a boogie, and I know we're not linking up, and we'll keep going. Sure enough, man, I'm about 20 minutes down the road. I get a text message. Got a boogie. And, yeah, along the way, he hit some spots. When he was coming across the Crescent City trying to link up, he hit some spots. He was down like 20 miles an hour on the shoulder with his four-ways on, kind of tiptoeing along the ice. And I guess one of those spots is where he put the bike down. That's why it was minimal damage. He said he was only doing 15, 20 miles an hour when he went down, but because of the ice, the bike slid. So
yeah, I think the bike went like 30 feet. I think he said 10 to 20 feet, but I know he called me last week. I think it was still like $2,700 damage or something like that.
Yeah, it was almost $3,000.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, when you go into the Harley dealership, $3,000 is not hard to do. So.
No, but hey, you know what? It's
you paint match a saddlebag, throw in a couple hours of labor to straighten out a bent saddlebag guard, and here you are.
It could have been way worse because I think he said there was a semi behind him. So when you can walk away from anything when you're going down on a motorcycle on the highway.
Yep.
I don't care if it's 5, 10, 15, 20. When that's all you get, you're just fine. You can walk away and very minimal damage where you can still ride your bike and another 700 plus miles to get home. That's a good day.
Yeah. He definitely someone was looking out for him that day. So I started working my way up. He's working his way back, and I hit Coos Bay, and See, there you go. Three grand
Robin.
at AG. Just did that with suspension. So I said $3,000 at the Harley dealership ain't hard.
No.
I think we all know that. But yeah, we start working our way back up. And when I left that morning, the ride planner had me at about a 17 to 18 hour day. Started getting into up towards got north of Crescent City, working my way to Coos Bay along the coast there. It's dark out. Temps are sub 40 degrees. We're along the coast. Out in the middle of nowhere, come up on some curves and the blacktop's shiny. I don't know if it's rain. I don't know if it's ice. So the next thing you know, I'm tiptoeing here, there, and everywhere. And that started costing some time. And then I go to cut back across the drain, and I make the turn, and all the big Amber Alert boards, those are all flashing. There's an accident in the canyon going out to drain, and the road's closed. 7 miles ahead, the road's closed. All right, cool. Let's see how old this warning is. We'll ride up there, see what's going on. I can make the call if I got to backtrack. It's only 7 miles. I ride up there. I'm like the third vehicle in line behind the closure. And I don't know if it's because that road don't get used a whole lot on Saturday of Thanksgiving weekend or if I was just that early. But I stopped, put the kickstand down, and they were just dragging the car and missed the curve. Like the road turned left and they just drove straight out into the woods. And I could hear them. They were just dragging the car up onto the road when I pulled up, but they still had both directions closed because the wrecker was busy. So I pull the phone out and I start messing with routes, trying to figure out how to work around this. There you go. Legends, front, rear, brake pads, maintenance, front forks adds up quick. Yes, it does.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, parts alone there was
$2,000.
Right?
At least.
Yeah. You settling in on those Legends, Robin? You digging them yet? But so I'm sitting there, I start messing with the route planner, and I'm like, this is like 100-mile detour. If I'm going to backtrack and go a different route out, it's like 100-mile detour.
That's the time, too.
Yeah, so it becomes a question. All right, do I spend... And I don't know what... Because the next place to cross over going north is coming out at Lake Eugene. I don't know what the east-west route looks like from the coast to Eugene. Glad to hear you're loving them.
Nice.
Anything's better than stock, right?
Oh, yeah.
Do I? Yeah, I'm running... So I'm running everything LED, and then the guys over at Lab were awesome and came through with some additional lighting. If you've ever looked at the back of a Road King Special, they're a lot like the Street Glides. They just have the 3-bar in the fender and the 2 little taillight stop-turn taillights. So the back's a little dim. So they did me a solid and got me some bag blades, some Ciro bag blades right underneath the saddlebag lids that help light the back of the bike up, give me some rear visibility. So visibility at night was not an issue during the ride. That was the good part. But so yeah, it became a math problem of, do I spend the time backtracking the 100 miles, not know what the east-west route's going to look like farther north because I haven't been on it recently, or do I sit and wait through the closure? Fate stepped in, did what it does, and they opened one lane for bypass traffic while I was doing all that calculating. So that worked out.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So I didn't have to backtrack and add the extra miles, but came through the tunnel out towards Drain and ran into a wall of fog. I hit some spots where I was less than a quarter mile of visibility. We're still in the 30s temperature-wise. Bag blades or plasma rods. Yeah, they do. I was very happy with them. Funny story about those. I actually was looking for the machetes from Ciro, the ones that go underneath the extended bags. But I typed bag blade instead of machetes, so I got the bag blades. Both of them have done exactly what I wanted them to do. I'm not sounding like I'm disappointed at all. Just kind of funny that the adjective of bag blade versus machete was enough to change where they mounted on the saddlebag. So if you're ever shopping lights with Ciro, make sure you're shopping the ones you want. And
Good point.
I'm not disappointed in the bag blades at all. If anything, I'm probably more happy with them because they're on the back of the bike and they do wrap the corner of the bag a little bit versus being underneath the bag extension. So,
well, that any more visibility you can get, whether you're front or rear, that's going to get you seen,
correct.
is well worth it.
Yeah, exactly. And they're so bright. And then the other thing I like with them is they're a sequential. They run red. They're a brake light red. The set I have are amber turn. So I have a red flashing turn, and then I have an amber sequential turn at the top of my saddlebag.
Nice.
So it's both colors to catch your attention, which was really nice.
Yeah.
Very happy with them. The reason I was between those two sets of lights was like the hinge lights, the saddlebag, the hinge cover lights.
Mm-hmm.
You drill a hole through your saddlebag to run the wires.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
I ain't drilling holes in my bags, man. I don't ride. I ride when the weather sucks. I ain't trying to put no holes in my bags.
Yeah. It's like see the people that go with the speakers in their saddlebag lids. Like, no, I just don't want to. Yeah.
Down by drain, that's fog the fog wants to be.
Yeah.
It's probably the second thickest fog I've ever been in. It's the thickest fog I've ever ridden in. It's probably the second thickest fog I've ever been in. It's real down in there. And again, like I said, it's mid-30s. And if you're familiar with that run across through drain, it was right around where the elk wildlife viewing is. Like there's an elk preserve down there. I don't know if you've ever been through there, Denver.
I don't think I have, no.
So there's a stretch in there where there's like on the way west, I was still going through while the sun was up. So I was like making mental notes because I knew I'd be coming back through in the dark. And like I come around the curve and it's like elk viewing area next like 2 miles. And I'm like, oh yeah, I see these all the time up in Washington. Dude, there were probably 40 elk in that field when I went through during the day. Sure as shit, man. We're coming back east through there. And there was an elk right here. Like it was standing, I couldn't see its legs. It was standing in the embankment in the ditch. And it was standing on the road side of the ditch. Its whole torso road level, but I couldn't see its legs. It was standing there munching on a bush. And it was right there because of the fog. Like that would have been it.
That's enough to scare the shit out of you right there.
That was like as soon as my brain registered it, it closed the throttle. I'm like, all right, let's see what happens.
Yeah, that's enough to wake you up. Fuck that.
Yeah.
That'll ruin a day. That'll ruin a day in a car.
Yeah.
Truck, anything. On a bike, that's just no way.
At speed, that's fatality. At speed. You know, luckily because of the crap weather and the road surface and stuff, I was already doing, I think I was maybe doing 40 miles an hour, which still would have been a bad day running into an elk, but I don't think it would have been lethal.
True.
But, so yeah, had that happen. And then kind of got out of it, and the road got good, started making some time. And then, yeah, elk is definitely a whole lot of animal. I think the only thing
they're so good to eat.
Oh, they're delicious. The only thing bigger you can run into out on the road right now would be a moose
or a buffalo.
Yeah, I meant here in the region.
Yeah,
but yeah, buffalo would obviously be bigger as well. It's like running into a Tahoe.
and the thing about buffalo is also it's not buffalo, it's moose.
Yeah,
moose's eyes will not reflect a headlight.
I've heard that. I don't want to.
All other animals will. I mean, moose, deer. I mean, all the other, antlered.
The brown baddies
on that family, except a moose. Yeah, they do not reflect headlights. Their eyes won't.
I referred to those all summer. I've called those the brown baddies. Like, as long as I avoid the brown baddies, man, we'll be all right tonight.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't care if it's a blacktail or a freaking moose. I ain't trying to meet up with any of it.
No, pass on that. Just want smooth sailing.
Yeah, that's what I was after, and I was that 20th ride, man. That was a test of my commitment. That's for sure. What was supposed to be a 17.5-hour day turned out to be 20 hours and 51 minutes.
Sounds like the iron butt from the Monsters Over Mountains on day one after all of our shenanigans and road issues and everything else.
Yeah. Amateur moose.
Oh, shit. So,
yeah, Curtis,
shit, buddy.
40 would still hurt.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, I made it out to 5 and then got past Portland and ran into rain by Longview. And Longview to Chehalis was like riding in a running dishwasher.
You.
There was
pass.
probably 15 to 20 mile an hour crosswinds plus the rain. There was a stretch right near Vader that the truck was in the center. I was in the right lane. Truck was in the center lane, about a quarter mile in front of me, and I was still getting his road spray on me like he was passing me. I ended up moving all the way to the left lane to get away from people's road spray.
And that's the worst part of riding the ring, especially on the interstate, is the road spray coming up off the road from all the other cars. It just makes visibility horrible.
Yeah. So that was rough. But I normally will run, like I'll stop either at the casino there at like exit 14, or like I'll stop at the Loves in Troutdale, like right there around the Portland Metro, right? Usually from there, I don't stop till I get back to the house. It's like just over 100 miles. I stopped 3 times that night on the way home because it was a combination of being wet and the cold. There were a couple. I didn't need gas or anything. I literally just had to stop and like loosen up because I was getting so tensed up with the weather and the riding.
Well, it comes that and knowing your limits, and there's nothing wrong with that at all.
And I knew, like I said, I knew I had the time, so it didn't hurt to stop for the extra 10 or 15 minutes those few times. But it was, as long as I got home safe, that's what I was really worried about.
Straight out curious, what helmet you're running.
So I am currently rocking Scorpion's R1 Air Carbon. Their R1 Air is the carbon's only is like a half pound lighter, but that's all that's different is the weight change from the R1 to the R1 Carbon. The R1 is the helmet Fabio Quartararo wore last year when he won the MotoGP championship. Wore it again this year when he came in second. It's been an amazing helmet. It's absolutely quiet. Doesn't weigh anything. It's a pin lock visor. Love it. If you want one with a drop down visor in it, you do their ST 1200 or something like that. It's basically the same helmet, but it's got the drop down visor in it instead of having to swap visors out. And the difference you trade there is you don't get the Snell rating because you get the drop down visor in it. So yeah, been an absolute. I've got neck and upper back problems from an accident in Iraq, so less weight on my head's awesome. I ran a Scorpion AT 950 for like 4 years. It's actually still my backup helmet. It's still sitting on my shelf. Wind Road Therapy is rocking the same helmet as me. That's awesome. Airflow's good. When it's cold, you can definitely tell where it is. You got to close the vents up. You end up getting a couple cold spots on the top of your head here. I absolutely love it. So with the pin lock visor, fog is not an issue. If you're not running a pin lock, it's going to be like any other helmet without a pin lock. I think that's the difference there. Probably one of the quietest helmets I've ever worn. So, definitely love it. But yeah, it does come with 2 visors. It comes with a dark and a clear, and then they're set up for pin locks. So, but yeah, been very happy with it. The only thing I haven't liked about it is, for whatever reason, my comms unit will not bond with the side of it. I've been through a couple different iterations of getting my comms unit to stick to the side of it. So,
hey, thanks, Robin.
Have a good one, Robin.
So, but no, man, thanks for coming on and doing another episode, man. It's always fun catching up. We text and whatnot frequently, but you've been having one hell of a year, and it's like, man, I got to get you back on. Hear some stories and share about what you're doing, your drive, and what you got going on for your causes, which is awesome.
I appreciate it, man. It's always good I appreciate the opportunity to come on and talk about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So it's sorry. So Wind Road Therapy's comment with the Senna. My Cardo hasn't let go yet. I also migrated this Cardo for my old helmet. So this Cardo is like 5 or 6 years old, but for whatever reason, it's just, I don't know if it's because of where I'm mounting it. There's a lot of real subtle curves in this helmet. So it's kind of hard to, I don't think there's a flat surface on it anywhere. So I may just have it in a bad spot. But like I said, it hasn't let go yet, but the top kind of lets go every once in a while. And I push it back in and rebond it. And I'm like, man, keep an eye on it.
No, you do what you can.
Yeah. And like I said, it's like I think it's a 5-year-old Cardo system. So I can't be too upset if it comes off. But,
yeah.
But yeah, man, it's been good. It's been awesome to be able to wave the Mission 22 flag for 30,000 miles this year. Is what I'm at year to date. Well, I'm 120 miles short. I think I can find 120 miles in the next 2 weeks. So
I'm sure you'll get that in.
If anything, just to be petty and actually say it was 30,000, not almost 30,000.
Hey, absolutely, I totally get it, man. So, but yeah, go ahead and let everybody know where they can follow you, where they can, follow what you got going on and everything.
There is a defunct YouTube channel that hasn't had a video posted to it in over a year. But I'm most active on the Instagram side that feeds into Facebook. Real easy to find, 2 Wheels to Survive, like you see there on the screen. Generally, I'll post stories as I'm out riding throughout the day, and then occasionally get some reels, and then I try to share the photos and stuff while I'm out and about. But yeah, that's where I'm at. You want to help out Mission 22, check out their website, mission22.com. They have a donate link right there. You can go straight to them, get your receipts and everything for your tax deduction purposes and all that fun stuff. Mostly because I don't have an active fundraising page going right now because I'm wrapping the year up. Otherwise, I'd direct you towards my fundraising page. But Mission 22 is always looking for more help. So,
absolutely. So,
yeah.
Man, buddy, thanks again for coming on. We've been friends for years. It's always fun catching up. And actually, besides our phone calls, the text messages, I love getting you on here and just shooting the shit almost like we're face to face. But we'll wait for a few months and we'll get that face to face and shoot the shit.
For sure.
And we got to work out some ride plans for next year.
So, Spring Bike, it's right there. 2 Wheels to Survive.
Yep. 2 Wheels to Survive.
Find me there.
Number 2 Wheels. Number 2 Survive.
Yeah, find me there on Instagram. And like I said, the YouTube's kind of defunct. I haven't really posted to it, and it's been more than a year since I posted a video there. So, but yeah, Instagram and Facebook are where I'm most active. So,
right on, man. Well, Mike, thanks again. Hey guys, don't forget, tune in next week. We got Milepost 86 with actually, best friend's been like my brother and his nephew. I've been trying to get him on since this whole thing started because he loves bikes. We've been riding, and he just doesn't like to open up, a little shy, but I think we finally got it worked out. So he is coming on next Sunday. My brother Nick Scarpa and his son Austin, they've been doing some cool shit down in Idaho, and he'll be joining us next week. That's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait.
Yeah, that'll be a good one.
Heck yeah. So Mike, thanks again for coming on, buddy. And everybody, thank you for tuning in, your support and everything. This has been a great show, an awesome Milepost, and helping share the 2 Wheels to Survive's mission of what they got going on. So you guys give him a follow, check out his social media feeds, and as always, stay safe, have fun, enjoy the open road, and we'll catch you next week. Later guys.